Hey everyone, welcome back to English Podcast with Zico.
And Sarah, we're so happy you're here with us today.
If you want to improve your English without stress or boring lessons,
You're in exactly the right place.
in this episode, we've got something super practical for your everyday English.
So put on your headphones, relax.
And let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Podcast with Zico. I'm your host, Zico, and today we are diving into a topic that so many of you have asked about. It's not just about grammar or vocabulary, it's about something deeper. We're talking about how to train your brain to actually think in English. And to help us unpack this massive subject, I am so excited to have Sarah joining us today. Sarah is a fantastic language coach who specializes in fluency and, importantly, the mindset behind learning. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hi, Zico. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really pumped to talk about this.
Awesome. So let's just jump right in. Thinking in English. Why is this like the holy grail for so many learners? What's the big deal?
Oh, it's everything. It's because it's the fundamental shift between constantly translating in your head and truly freely communicating. When you're always translating from your native language, you're always a step behind, you know?
Right. It feels like you're running this constant background translation software in your brain. It's exhausting.
Exactly. It's like, you know, when you try to pat your head and rub your stomach at the same time, you can technically do it, but it's clumsy, it's slow, and your focus is completely split. That's translating,
That is a perfect analogy.
right? Thinking directly in English is just patting your head. The action is direct. It unlocks that spontaneity, that real in-the-moment connection with the person you're talking to.
You're not doing two things at once, you're just doing the thing. I love that. So what holds people back? I remember when I was starting out, I'd have this like perfect sentence ready in my head in my native language, and then I'd start to say it in English and poof, it's gone.
Oh, I hear that from my students all the time. It's so common. And it really just comes down to habit. We learn English through our native language in school, so that translation bridge is like built in from day one. And it feels safe, right? It's a comfort zone.
Totally a comfort zone. So how do we break out of it?
The very first step is just to notice it. That's it. Become aware of when you're doing it. No judgment, no frustration, just a little mental note like, oh, okay, I'm translating right now.
It's a mindfulness practice almost.
It really is. And once you notice it, you can start with super, super small things. Please don't try to have a full philosophical debate in your head on day one.
Right. So what's a good baby step?
My favorite starting point is labeling. Just look around whatever room you're in right now as you're listening. Don't say the word in your native language first. Just see the object and your brain should just think lamp, book, window. That's it.
Lamp, book. Okay, yeah, that feels doable. You're bypassing the translation for simple nouns.
You're creating a direct link between the concept and the English word. Another super easy thing, change the language on your phone.
Oh, that's a classic one, but it works?
It really does, because you already know where everything is from muscle memory. So you're not lost, you're just exposing your brain to everyday words like settings, messages, clock, hundreds of times a day. It becomes automatic.
That's brilliant. Passive immersion. Okay, so we're labeling. Our phones are in English. How do we move from single words to, sentences, actual thoughts?
The next level is narrating your life, developing your English inner monologue. Again, start simple. As you're doing things, just think it in English. I am walking to the kitchen. I'm thirsty. I'm going to make some tea.
Oh, I like that. You become the narrator of your own movie.
Totally. And it's so low pressure because nobody can hear you. You can make mistakes, you can stumble, you can sound silly. It's just for you.
But what if you don't know a word? That's the bit where I think people get stuck and frustrated and just give up.
Such a great question. That moment of not knowing is a gift. It really is. You have two options. First, you can look it up. But my favorite option is to describe it with the words you do have. It's a skill called circumlocution.
What?
Circumlocution. It just means talking around a word. So if you don't know spatula, you just think, I need the flat thing for flipping the eggs. Your brain is still working 100% in English. You're problem solving in English.
So you're saying not knowing the word is actually an opportunity to practice an even more useful skill?
Yes, because that's what you have to do in a real conversation. It builds real, flexible fluency.
Okay, this is all very internal. What about external stuff? Media, TV, podcasts, like this one, hopefully.
Of course, it's huge. You can't think in a language if you're not getting a ton of input in it. You need to hear the rhythm, the patterns, how people actually talk. But here's my rule. Consume content you would enjoy in your own language. If you hate politics, don't force yourself to watch the news in English.
Because then it just feels like homework.
It's a chore, and you'll quit. If you love cooking, watch cooking shows. The more you immerse yourself in things you genuinely like, the more your brain just soaks it all up.
Okay, the great subtitle debate. What's your take? Native language, English, or nothing?
Okay, so subtitles in your native language isn't listening practice, it's reading practice. Your brain will always take the easy route.
Takes the easy path out. Right.
Yeah, English subtitles are a fantastic tool for connecting the sounds to the words, but the ultimate goal is to turn them off. Try to just get the gist. Don't panic if you miss a word. Just try to follow the main story.
You mentioned patience earlier, and I think that's key. It can be super frustrating when you have a day where your brain just refuses to cooperate.
Oh, for sure. Everyone has those English brain days and no English brain days, and that is okay. The goal is communication, not perfection. Remember that your brain is literally rewiring itself. It's building new connections. That takes energy and time. So the most important thing is to be kind to yourself and just keep showing up. 5 minutes of narrating your morning is a win. 10 minutes of a podcast is a win. It all adds up.
Be kind to yourself. I love that. Wow, this has been incredibly practical, Sarah. So just to recap for everyone, start by noticing when you translate. Then start small by labeling objects and changing your phone's language.
You got it.
Then level up to narrating your own life, your inner monologue, and don't be afraid to describe words you don't know. And finally, immerse yourself in English content that you actually find fun.
Perfect summary. And most of all, be patient. It's a process.
Such great advice. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all this wisdom. Where can our listeners find out more about you and your work?
My pleasure. You can find me on my website, sarahlanguagecoach.com, or on Instagram. My handle is sarah.english.coach.
Fantastic. We will link all of that in the show notes for you all. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in to English Podcasts with Zico. Give these tips a try this week, even just the small ones, and see how it feels. We'll see you next time.